Hello, this is Nick from When Prog and Power Unite, and I'm talking with bassist Jonas Reingold, mastermind of Karmakanic, and member of the Flower Kings, along with a myriad of other bands. Welcome, Jonas.
Thank you, sir.
The fourth Karmakanic album, In a Perfect World, is set to be released on July 25th, and the Karmakanic fans I've talked to have quite high expectations after Who's the Boss in the Factory. What would you say are some of the best qualities of the new album that'll allow it to shine against your previous work?
I don't know, it's just a different Karmakanic album, and if you like, Who's the Boss in the Factory, this would be a good complement to your collection, I think, because it's a bit different. Maybe it's a bit simpler, it's not as much arrangement as on Who's the Boss in the Factory. I would say the focus is more on the songwriting and the lyrics this time, but it's still, I think it's a pretty good symphonic progressive rock album.
Very good. Now, you mentioned the lyrics. On the last album, your wife wrote a large chunk of them. Did she contribute again, or did you write all the lyrics for this album?
Actually, I co-wrote the lyrics together with an American girl. Her name is Julia Olson. She lives in LA. And the reason I did it was because I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into the language. As a non-native speaker, it can be sometimes hard to understand the small nuances in the language. And by discussing the lyrics with a native speaker gave me a better insight, on everything, I think. So it was a great collaboration for me, and I think it came out quite good as well.
At what time did you learn English in school, and then when did you start really using English on a regular basis?
I think we start at 10, when we're 10 years old in the school. And it's just, in school you maybe read English for 2 hours a week or something, and you study English for 2 hours a week. And the reason I can speak English is because, I've been on the road and learning from television and films. But nowadays the youth speaks quite good here in Sweden. Guys that are like 16, 17, 18 years old, because they are brought up with the internet, watched all those American English movies. So I would say that almost everybody speaks quite okay English here in Sweden right now.
Okay. Well, have you ever considered, to get over that language barrier, it would limit your market, but have you ever thought of doing an album in Swedish?
I've written a few songs, but the market is very small here in Sweden. It's only 8-9 million people living in the country in total, and so you need a huge success to be able to survive on your music, because you cannot sell the music abroad, I think. So normally everybody writes in English, because that's much easier to get the music out there, I think.
Yeah. Now, on the writing for Karmakanic, I've always found that you kind of differentiate yourself from guys like Andy Tilson or Roine Stolt, in that you seem to forgo some of the maybe longer, spacier sections that the Flower Kings do. Is that sort of a reaction to your playing in the Flower Kings, that you don't want to repeat yourself, or are you just naturally that more direct kind of writer?
I would say that's probably my nature as a writer. I'm trying to be kind of I'm going for it immediately. That's my style, and I like music that is written in that way. Of course, I can appreciate long jammy section, open spaces, and a lot of textures from the keyboards and all that. But I prefer probably a well-written song, without all the hassle in between.
On the new album, I think that once again Goran Edmund has a stunning performance on it. When you sit down with him, are you very particular in the way you want him to sing things, or he has a very diverse and dynamic approach on anything he sings on. Is that just natural for him, or do you really direct how you want him to sing?
We're working together in the studio when we record the vocals. But we normally start like this: that I'm producing a demo tape of the songs, all the songs, and I sing the melodies, and I express the lyrics as good as I can, and I just send him the tape just so he can listen to it. And then he comes to the studio. First we just checking if the keys and everything are right for him, and if he can hit the high notes or not, or and then he comes to the studio and we start working on the song, and we take it from there basically, and then he's free to do whatever he wants. But when you write the melody, it's and the lyric, sometimes you don't need to change it because it's good as it is. If you take a Beatles song, for example, you can just sing it the way it is. No need to change it. So if he has a suggestion, we change it, and if I like it, we keep it, and that's how we work, and it works out quite good, I think.
Okay, very good. Now, Karmakanic is your personal outlet, but it's only one of many bands you're in. When you're working for Karmakanic, does it ever seem strange not having that guy there when you're writing, like, to argue against an idea or suggest a change? Is it weird just doing exactly what you want constantly?
Not really, because I'm open-minded, and as I said, I produce a demo of all the songs before we go into the studio. And then if people have suggestions, and Lalle, for example, he's a great keyboard player, so if he says to me, could we do like this instead? I'm just stupid if I'm not go with his idea, because he's a much better piano player than I am. So I'm trying to be a strong leader, but with big ears.
Yes. Okay. Now, a few years back, Karmakanic and another band you're part of, Agents of Mercy, started touring together, and you even came here in the U.S. where I was fortunate enough to see one of your shows. What has it been like to be able to play the Karmakanic material live for your fans?
It's great, we love it, and because we are all jazz musicians, I think. We have a jazz background. We like to improvise, and normally we stretch out the songs. When Earth Meets the Sky, for example, we normally stretch out the piano section there to just give Lalle a lot of space to just go for it and improvise and do whatever he wants with it. And that's a good compliment. It's a good way to change the songs a bit, because I think it's just boring to see a band that reproducing the CD. I myself prefer a band when they have fun on stage, they stretch out, they go improv, they do whatever they want, and that's the way I think music should be performed. If you have solo sections, then just let the guy play.
I have to say, on the idea of just being a little freer live, one of my favorite moments from seeing you live was, it was in New Jersey, and I was down front, and you came and sat right in the front row during a section where you weren't playing and just kind of chilled out for a minute.
Yeah, I'm a fan myself, so I like good music. And if the other guys perform good music, I'm the biggest fan in the room.
Yeah. Do you plan to do much touring in support of In a Perfect World?
We were planned to do Nearfest, and we had a couple of shows booked around that date. But since the guys pulled the plug, everything got cancelled. And so right now I don't have any plans for touring at all. And it's, I have to look at it 2012 maybe, because I think it's a bit too late now to really book something for the autumn. I have a couple of proposals from different venues and festivals, but it's a lot of money involved when you're touring with like 6-7 people, and yeah, you gotta have the funds for it as well, because I'm paying all the salaries and all the traveling expenses and all the visas and everything that includes a gig.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
I live 5 minutes from the Nearfest venue, so it was a big upset for me not to be able to see you guys there. It was depressing. The festival has been run for many years, so it was hard on you guys and hard on a lot of people, and we're very sad that you aren't able to make it now.
Yeah, no, but not only for us, it's bad for the whole movement, progressive movement, I think, and hopefully the guys will reunite for another festival in the future. I hope so.
Yes. Now, being involved with as many projects as you are, when you write music, do you kind of write with a project in mind, or do you just write and kind of then save it off for whatever band you think it might be best for?
Previously, I wrote stuff that I liked, but lately I'm trying to more, think about who's playing with me right now. In Karmakanic example, for example, Lale is a great keyboard player, and it's good to have that in mind, that he can do all those crazy stuff with the keyboards, and he can play fast lines so it's good to use it. And also, if you have a drummer that is a solid rock drummer, and maybe not as good in the lighter sections to play, a ride cymbal with a jazz touch, it's maybe better to write in a more rockier way. Try to use the guys 100%. Then you will have a great sounding album, I think.
Now, getting on to some of your other projects here a little bit, the Flower Kings had maintained about an album a year pace until 2007's The Sum of No Evil, but there hasn't been any new material since. Can you shed any light onto when we think the band's hiatus might come to an end?
We're talking about it right now, so hopefully we will see the new album out 2012, because this is not the end of the Flower Kings, I can guarantee that. I think late fall, maybe November, December, we'll start working on a new album, so it's not the end yet.
Okay. Can we expect the same lineup as the last album?
I don't know. Last time I visited Roine for some overdubs for the upcoming Ages of Mercy record, we spoke about it, and we don't know. We don't know that. I think we just have to wait and see what happens. But anyhow, it will be a good lineup, no matter what, I think.
Yes, I think...
Because Roine is perfectionist, and I probably is it myself, so, to just bring a lousy drummer to the lineup would be a shame, I think.
Yeah. Alright, now, a few years back, you took I thought, a very bold step in starting your own record company, Reingold Records. With the music industry maybe shaky at best, what made you decide to try and make that move?
I don't know. I'm probably stupid. I'm a musician, Everybody points to downwards direction for the music industry, but then I started a record company. I just felt a need to go independent, I think. To be able to do whatever you like at any time. You don't have to ask anybody, because I'm running my own recording studio as well. So, I'm in full control over everything. If I can write the songs, record the material, and then release it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a luxury that I have. I've been a pro, I think 30 years almost now. Lived off music, and so this is my retirement luxury, to be able to just do it and don't have to ask anybody, and it's exciting as well, because it's probably as the closest I get to a normal job. Because just playing the bass and meet all those fantastic people, but also crazy people, and it's a crazy business, and you have venues screwing you off. You don't get the money. It's a lot of hassle involved. So, by being a musician,
Yeah.
and just to be in control and have a normal job is like a record company, because then you're dealing with sane people. When you're calling this distribution company in Germany, for example, they are pretty sane because they have a
Yeah.
normal job. They're selling a product, and it's good for me. It's good rehabilitation for a musician to actually talk to normal people sometimes.
Yes. Do you think that your record company will eventually expand past, like right now it's mostly musicians and bands that you've been very close with there in Sweden. Do you think it'll expand to a greater market at some point?
I don't know. It will probably have the niche I have right now, because I said to myself, don't get into the pop business, don't get into the jazz business, stay in the progressive / fusions style, because I think also it's easier for me to work in that environment, because I know all the people I need to know. I know the magazines, the journalists. So it's probably smarter for me to just stick to it. And also from a musical perspective, I like this kind of music so much. So it's a joy for me to work, even though I'm not playing on the record myself. But if it's a great record, it's a joy for me to just sell it and make people happy with the music we provide. So I will probably stick to the fusion / progressive style.
Now,
As long as I can.
I know there had been some talk of it, the possibility that when the next Flower Kings studio album is released, it might be on Reingold Records, and it would probably be, I think, the biggest record you'd have on there. Is that still looking like a possibility?
The next studio album will definitely not be on Reingold Records. I can tell it for sure, because Roine still got a deal with InsideOut Music.
Oh, okay.
So that will not happen. But I released the latest DVD with the Flower Kings, the Tour Kaput. So that was my biggest release so far, and it's going great. So I can sense that it is a big need for a new Flower King CD as well. So but in the future we don't know. I have to prove to Roine that I can sell a shitload of records. So
yeah.
if I can do that, I maybe get the band as well.
Okay. Now, going on one of your other projects, what has it been like to be a part of Kaipa, a band which has a rich history dating all the way back to the mid-'70s?
For me, it was just great. It is a great lineup, a great drummer in Morgan Ågren. It's been a joy to work with him for, what is it, five albums or something. And I learned a lot just by playing with him, and the other guys are really nice. But we are not considered a band, I think. It's just a project, because we don't play live. We don't do any shows. We do just making this music.
Yeah.
But it's great enough for me, It's been great.
Yeah, so you don't get upset that a large chunk of what you've done will never be played live. It doesn't really bother you.
No, because I know the situation is like this, and Hans, the guy managing the band, he don't want to play live. So there's no need for me to go into that argument with him, because I know the situation, and we will probably never play live. And so be it. But if you can produce good music anyway, that's fine.
Fair enough. Now, guys like yourself and Roine Stolt have been basically known as musical factories. You're releasing something with one band or another, it seems, monthly almost. Do you think that with Reingold Records and maybe like other jobs, you'd ever be able to go a full year without writing or recording any music?
Can you say that question, because I lost you for a couple of seconds.
Do you think that you would be able to settle down and like take a full year off from writing or recording music, or is that something that you could never ever see yourself doing?
I don't know. I think it depends on my financial status that year, because the reality is, I'm making my living off music. So, if I don't get like several gold records for something that I'm involved with, I will probably have to work like anybody else.
Yeah.
But it's looking better and better, and I'm more in control of my time. So I can, for example, now I spend like 3-4 weeks on the east coast of Sweden on an island called Gotland, and I could not do that a couple of years ago. So I think I'm on the right track, and I'm trying to maximize everything I do. Running my own record company, running my own studio, so I don't have to pay a lot of middle hands, and be in control of everything.
Yes.
And that's, I think, the music industry is going towards that direction, because a lot of people doing it. Big artists forming their own record companies. So the time is over for the big, the big five like Universal Records and Warner Bros. And MI and those guys.
Yeah,
because I think time is is leaning towards independence.
Yeah, I think that with the internet and the way things are now, it's harder for people to make it really big, but it's making it possible for everyone to at least get somewhere.
Yeah, and if you're smart and have talent and produce great music, there will always be an audience. Then you just have to be inventive enough to figure out how you're making money off it.
Now, aside from the new Karmakanic record and the promotion for it here, are there any other projects that we'll be seeing popping up in the next few months that are keeping you busy right now?
We have started with a secret project, but I will not reveal any names. But you will hear about it within a few months, I think. Oh, somebody's coming to your place.
Somebody's at my door, yes, but they will have to wait.
No, but I think there will be something special for you guys coming up within 6 months or so, maybe. We have started working on it, and it has a few great names in that project, so it will be exciting. But it's too early, because when we are halfway into the recording, I will start talking about it.
Okay. Now, this is just one question there. You've been with so much. Is there any of the Swedish progressive rock bands left that you've not been involved with that you'd maybe one day like to work with to some extent?
I don't know. We don't have that many progressive rock bands in Sweden. We have a few, I know all the guys in Beardfish. I know all the guys in Kaipa and the Flower Kings, of course. And Änglagård is a great band. I never worked with them.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, Jonas. I wish you the best of luck with Reingold Records, In a Perfect World, and your many other projects.
Oh, thank you. It was nice talking to you.